Okay, so welcome to our school counselor boot camp in 2019. And it looks a little different than it did in the past few years. I apologize for that. Typically, we have a district day that we can get all the counselors together, and we've had a boot camp the last few years. This year it looks a lot different. There is no district professional development day until September 3rd, so um, I was originally planning to do a webinar type of thing, but couldn't get the technology to work out. So here we are. Here's a video, and you can watch it and rewatch it all you want, and just get your fill of me droning on and on about counseling. So there you have it. But if you do have any questions or anything after this video is over, feel free to let me know. But hopefully we'll go over a whole bunch of things that will help you in school counseling this year. I apologize, I won't be finishing the year out with you, but I do have this first full month to help you guys get the school year started, and hopefully somebody can carry that on for you guys. Couple of announcements. First of all, we do have some new counselors in the district, so I want to welcome these counselors. We have Lacey Cherry is now at Spring Hill Elementary. Welcome, Lacey. Amy Peterson is at Battle Creek Middle School. And Lacey's coming from Williamson County. Amy is coming from California. Leslie Crowder is at Mount Pleasant Middle School. I apologize, Leslie. Oh, no, I do remember now. You are from Wilson County, so welcome to Murray County. Whitney Kovac is now school counselor at McDowell, and she has recently become Dr. Whitney Kovac, so welcome, Dr. Kovac. And a couple of other changes. Amy Sumners is now at Battle Creek Elementary, and Jesse Alexander is splitting time between Spring Hill Middle School and Santa Fe Unit School. So a lot of exciting things going on. As you probably have seen some of the emails, Grayson Mabry is on an interim medical leave, and I'm trying to send some updates as they come in. So thoughts and prayers for her and her recovery. As of the recording of this video, I don't know that we've had an interim decided upon for that school. So if you know of anyone who is interested, who could possibly do an interim position there while she's out, please have them apply on the district site. Also, Ellen Lawson is taking interim leave as well, I believe for the year. And so we have Savannah Minier. I apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly, but she is joining us at Central High School. So welcome, Savannah. And also, Toshiro Goodman is soon to be Dr. Toshiro Goodman. So congratulations, Toshiro. And if there are any other celebrations, weddings, or births of children, or anything like that, or degrees accomplished, let me know. I would love to brag on you guys. So that's quite awesome. So anyway, we're going to jump into it now, into our boot camp. So all of you should have been emailed this document as well, which just kind of has the notes and some live hyperlinks, so you can click on various things. But this is just kind of the thing that I'll be running through today, just to give you a little more information. But if you scroll down to some couple things I want to reference first, and I'd sent these out previously as well. These are training resources for the two required trainings, so suicide prevention and Aaron's Law, sexual abuse prevention. Here's a couple of folks that would be able to assist you in implementing those things, whether it's for staff development, and some of them might be able to help with some student implementation. There's some new ones on the Aaron's Law I want to highlight. So Marcia Boren, she works with Center of Hope, and they're willing to assist. They just might need some curriculum or something, whatever you want to implement. I don't know that they have their own curriculum that they would implement, but they're more than willing to work with the schools if you want to contact Marcia. Also, Carla Walker at DCS, they also do some trainings, and she was really excited to be able to assist with the schools. So feel free to contact any of those. As you know, it is required for all staff, actually all employees, to have both the suicide prevention and the Aaron's Law annually. For Aaron's Law, additionally, there needs to be at least 2 lessons or sessions or assemblies for students. However you want to do that, if you want to do it back to back or once each semester or something like that, you can certainly do more lessons. But there also needs to be some sort of parent communication. I wouldn't go into like a lot of great detail. If you're having another organization come in and do something, you would probably need to do some sort of passive opt-out permission. There's a sample on the SharePoint site that we used at Spring Hill Middle. But if you as a counselor are implementing something, you do not need permission, but you could simply just send home some sort of communication. Hey, we're going to be talking about general safety or something to that effect, you know. But anyway, that's just part of some of the requirements, as well as some sort of evaluation of the actual presentation. So whether it's a pre-post test or it doesn't have to be necessarily formal or anything like that. But those are all part of the requirements of Aaron's Law itself. Some other trainings, many schools are talking about adverse childhood experiences and trauma-informed schools. So here's several folks that are willing to come to your schools to talk with faculty, and some of them may actually do students as well. A lot of you know Desiree Kelly. She has a new position with Mental Health America. She's now the Public Health and Education Manager. She was the Erasing the Stigma person, the Icy Hope Duck and all that stuff. I believe she said she's still willing to come out to the schools and do that, but her role has changed a little bit. But being that she is in Murray County, she is more than happy to help out the schools. So feel free to contact her, as well as faculty, staff, mental wellness. Both Desiree and Jamie are more than happy to come and do some things for your faculty on kind of mental health and wellness and so forth, self-care. And then also down here, if you scroll down, I just have general resources. So I just wanted all of you guys to have names, and a lot of times during these boot camps, we've been able to have folks come in and talk to you face to face. I may still try and get some of those if possible. I know Tasha from Youth Villages wanted to come in, but again, our beginning of the year looks a lot different than it has in the past. But I wanted you guys all to have contacts for these various organizations that you may need throughout the year on here. So if you scroll down, there's quite a few on here that hopefully will come in handy for you, and there's Tasha's information there as well. So anyway, hopefully that is some useful things. And then all the way at the bottom would be important dates, and I did send that out previously as well. Now, not everybody's going to be going to every one of these things, so you have to kind of make note of things that are pertinent to you. But the start of the year, we do have some collaboratives I've scheduled where I can do a collaborative with every level before I leave. My last day is on September 5th, I believe, that Thursday. So we'll get through the map sessions and so forth. I am planning to do our Section 504 annual kind of training refresher and so forth on that day. I'm not sure what time of the day. There's 5 sessions, so whenever they schedule me. And then we can also go over how to flag it in EduPoint, Synergy, and so forth. So that's coming up. For SCALI, so our School Counselor Administrator Leadership Institute in Murfreesboro, most of you signed up for that. CTE graciously offered to pay for that. So if you are registered, then that will be in September 22nd through 24th in Murfreesboro. There are some RTIB trainings in here. Depends on where your school is on training to which of those you will or will not be going to, if any. And then also the team lead collaborations. The first one's on September 20th. Those are really good. You don't have to be necessarily the team lead, but if you just want to go and collaborate on some RTIB things, that's a great thing to do. We've got College App and Exploration Week in September, and this is all K through 12 stuff. So even at the younger grades, if you want to do something where everybody wears alumni shirts or something like that, some sort of thing would be awesome. And EPSO Week, similar, early post-secondary opportunities. That's about mid to late October. And so various things through. You can go through and look. Professional development, again, like it was last year, so the first half of the day will be you guys getting together and whoever the supervisor is at that point. I've gone ahead and reserved all the rooms for all of these trainings and collaboratives. Aside from the top, I just went ahead and assumed that, and go ahead and made a decision that we're going to meet at the 2 Battle Creeks for the elementary and middle school. And as you go through the year, if you want to host it at your school, simply speak up. Love to be in a school rather than at H.O. Porter. The Mental Health Summit on January 6th, that's going to look a little different this year. It's actually going to be a district-wide kind of summit, and it'll be, I believe, about 3 different sites all through the district. You guys will all be at Spring Hill Middle School, and there will be the bookstore and vouchers and all that sorts of things. There, I believe, maybe 2 speakers that rotate in and out. And then the other 2 sites will have different employees of the district, and they'll have some other speakers. But so it's gotten bigger and should be really exciting. And then the last PD day, again, the first half of the day is March 16th. And then whenever you see the mental health advisory councils, so those are the ones that I've had. It's just an invitation. You're not required to be there, but if you want to do that, you're welcome to come. Get some ideas maybe of how to run your advisory council as well. And then right at the end of the year is submitting all of your end of year documents, and we're going to go over some of those things right now. So here we are back at the main part of our boot camp here. I did want to also mention that Withorn and Cox are going to be implementing Capturing Kids' Hearts, a great SEL program, and then the 2 Battle Creek schools, the elementary and middle school, will be doing Character Strong. Very similar programs, but excited to see how those work out for the year. Okay, so when you scroll through here, you'll see some reminders. The first one is the Counselor SharePoint. So if you were able to just click on that, it'll take you to our SharePoint site. If you do not have access for some reason, everybody should, but just let me know. And I've updated everything on here as best that I could tell. Again, on the right side are just some important phone numbers. DCS reporting, mobile crisis for high schools if you have students that are over 18. This is the number for mobile crisis for over 18. And here's my work cell phone. I don't know the new supervisor. I would assume they'd have the same number, but I'm not sure. If not, I'm going to transfer ownership to the new person, and they can kind of change things on here as they need to. You'll see the calendar here is the same one that we just went over. And then all on the side here, all the various things should be pretty much everything that you will need throughout the year. I do want to highlight a couple of things, though. Again, here's Murray County bullying policies. The OK to BU, and here are some of those pledges that some of the schools did last year. I do want to mention that I still have quite a few wristbands, the OK to BU wristbands, and a few lanyards. So please let me know if you'd like any more for your students or faculty, parents, whatever. They're doing no good sitting in my office. And then also new for this year is we have pencils, really cool kind of white pencils with the logo printed on them. We ordered enough for 2 for each student, so I've got about 25,000 pencils in my office. Again, let me know how many pencils, wristbands, and lanyards need, and we can get those to you as soon as possible. Community resources, so most of you know, and this is also on our district site as well, but this is just a link to the district site if you want to do that, and you can link it on your school website if you want to, but our community resources, we've worked hard to make sure this is up to date, but there's tons of these categories, and you can just click on it, and if there's a website associated, we have links and stuff in here as well. So it's a good place to direct parents, or if somebody asks you something and you just need to have some resources as well. That's a good place for you to do that. So feel free to utilize that as much as you would like to. And let's see, let's go back here. Okay, so now Stop It, the Stop It app. So this year, just the middle schools, and then Culleoka's middle school students are utilizing Stop It. So here's the login if you need that as the administrator. And please ask me any questions about that if you are a school that is utilizing that. The more you promote it, the more the students will use it, and you'll have better documentation and better communication. And it just looks good when families and parents are complaining like you guys are doing nothing or that sort of thing. Say we do have this resource available for communication purposes. So it's a real helpful thing. So again, all the middle schools and then Culleoka's middle school students have that. Under counselor resources, just want to highlight a few things under here. There's a couple of different programs from Kids Place and Department of Health. I have a Murray County resource contact similar to the one that I just showed you earlier. Mental Health America, their programs for 6 through 12 and then K through 5. There's a new time analysis spreadsheet. So let me show that to you real quick. Again, you don't have to use this, but if you do want to use it, I think it's pretty beneficial. I used it myself all last year. So all these categories here come straight out of the state plan, the state model. So class group, and then in parentheses is direct, indirect, and so forth. Your program management and miscellaneous, that's what you want your 20% to be. Everything else should total 80% in an ideal world. And again, you would just, at the top, just put the date. If you notice here, this is the first 9 weeks. The reason we have these 4 tabs is you probably don't want to keep scrolling out 170 days this way. So I just did it for 9 weeks, which is about 45, 50 days. And you can just put the date up here and toggle down here. Most of you don't start at 7, but if you do, all you do is just click on a field. All those things come up and you would just decide what it is. Now as you go through here, as you see as I'm putting things in here, it automatically starts populating the pie charts at the bottom. I added a couple of different things here. I added this is new here this year, this side. So instead of you guys trying to add up all the percentages for each 9 weeks of direct and indirect and so forth, it'll start doing it here for you. So you just, as you fill out your days and your weeks, you just keep doing that and it just automatically populates for you. So hopefully that will be a useful tool. And then for your percentages, you can just hover over here like, oh, individual planning is 25% of my time, miscellaneous 25%. And then over here you've got your program management, that's 38%. If that was real, that would be way over what we ideally want. We want no more than 20%. But again, we're just doing a sample here. I'm happy to help you implement this, get this going, but it is new, or newly updated, I should say. So feel free to use that. It is located here in Counselor Resources. I can also email it to you as well if you need to. So a couple of things in there. Advocacy documents, that's just mainly if you need to advocate for your position. What is a school counselor, communication with parents, faculty, admin, any of those types of things. College for TN, again, that is a K through 12 resource. Now, it may not be, yeah, see, they're updating their website, so it should be back soon, but that is a great resource for those who have done it. I believe Jessie did a lot of her students sign them up for getting their profiles going, so you can do your interest inventories and so forth. In an ideal world, they would do that all in the middle schools, and when they get to the high schools, they would already have their profiles and interests that the high school counselors could build upon. That's ideally how it's set up. Implementation, and we're going to go more into detail on this, but anything you would need for implementation, such as SMART goals, action plans, any of those types of things, they're all in here. Let's see. If you need some sample needs assessments, you don't have to use these if you want to take them and modify them, but here's several for teachers, parents, students. They're all in there. Referral forms. Again, there's faculty referral, there's parent referral, and then here's our generic release of information. We also have it in a Spanish version now as well. So that's all on there. Whenever you make a report to DCS, most of you already know, this form here needs to be filled out and then saved and emailed to, probably copy your admin, but send it to the district attorney's office and copy myself and Mr. Lang or whoever the new me is going to be. But all that information is down here as well. So that is the step after you make the DCS report that needs to be done. Some Aaron's Law resources. Those who deal with homeless or McKinney-Vento, there's some resources there as well. Want to also remind you of the post-crisis recovery. We do have that procedure here, and it's a very thick manual that can be used for a lot of different things. But after a crisis, death of a student or any other crisis, there's a lot of good resources in there and kind of how-to things in there as well. RTIB, there's a lot of good information in here. Some things for staff buy-in, Tier 1, Tier 2, Also, if you're on the RTIB committee, we have our own RTIB SharePoint that has a lot more resources as well. These two here, PBIS World and Intervention Central, are great resources as well, just for tiered interventions. I'll just highlight PBIS World, which is really good. If you've got a kid that's really impulsive, you click on what the behavior is. It'll ask you, is this indicative of your student? And if you say yes, then it'll offer you a couple of Tier 1 interventions. And if you try those and those don't work, then you're going to go to Tier 2. It'll show you some Tier 2 interventions, and all these you can click on. So if you don't know how to do a social story, you can click on there, and there's a resource for that. So a really cool website. Intervention Central is similar to that as well. So yeah, feel free to utilize those as much as you need to. Section 504, always the big thing. This is just a link to EdPlan homepage. And again, I'll be doing a lot more in-depth on Section 504 at our meeting that we have on September 3rd. But any of the documents that you might need, as well as just information. A lot of these, Dave Richards, he's a lawyer out of Texas, and all he deals with is schools and 504s, so really good information. This Dear Colleague letter sent out by the federal government on ADHD students is really good. But down here is all of our Murray County things. So the medical letter, that's something that can be sent out to students who are on health plans that you've been identified as having this impairment or disability or so forth. You know, we'd be happy to evaluate you for Section 504, and the parents can say, yeah, I want that, or no, I don't. But you've offered it to them, and you have that documentation. A couple new ones that we did last year was the testing accommodations. Particularly page 2 of that speaks to oral presentation or text-to-speech, and the requirements for that. It was just not equitable, and truly IEP kids have a hard time getting that accommodation, and we were just handing it out almost like candy to parents who wanted it. So this is a more streamlined way, and it has specific requirements. We'll talk more about that on September 3rd, I'm sure. The chronic health condition packet, that is for those students who are absent a lot but not enough to be on homebound. And that has several pages in there, some to be filled out by the physician, some by the parents. That basically gives us documentation to excuse absences to a reasonable amount, or whatever the doctor thinks is reasonable. And they won't be counted as truant. They will still count as chronically absent, and that will hurt the school, but it won't hurt the parents. So we've had some pushback from parents. They didn't want to fill it out, and they don't have to. It's not required at all. But if they don't want to be truant, that's probably something they want to fill out. And again, here's our meeting checklist. This is a really good resource that gives you things to do before the meeting, during the meeting, after the meeting, that you can just refresh your memory on what to do. So all these resources are in here as well. And I did update this, and we'll go over more of this probably at our September 3rd meeting, but how to flag a student and Synergy right here. Jennifer showed me that. So that's one way to do it there. All right. Suicide prevention. So this has our suicide threat protocol. You can always go here or just have it on your desktop, either one. And again, it's a document that's designed to, when there's a crisis, you just print it off, and everything that you will probably need for that whole situation is going to be in there. Things to fill out, things to hand to parents, all that sorts of thing. The TLC Connect, as far as I know, is still going on. Again, it's a grant-based program, so it doesn't matter whether they have private or TennCare. And it is for students 10 years or older. So for elementary, it'd probably just be your 4th graders or some of them. But for students that maybe you called mobile crisis and they said it wasn't a big deal or priority or high risk, but you're still worried about the student, referring them to TLC Connect. They will connect them with resources within 24 hours and follow up with them and kind of guide the family through that. Again, for your suicide threat protocol that you do, you will need to go through this CSSRS, sorry, too many acronyms. You'll need to go through that training video before you can use the suicide threat protocol. So it might be a good thing to refresh yourself on that, particularly on this how to administer it, and the actual tutorial goes through two of them. It goes through the clinical version, which is the long version, and the screener. We just do the screener, which is the 6 questions, which is the same thing that Mobile Crisis will be using, so we'll speak the same language there. And this last one here is support teams. So that is just all the support team things that you might need. We tried to have a schedule last year, kind of a refresher, get everybody on the same page again. We did it about 3 years ago, and it just never happened. So I'm hoping that Lisa Ventura and whoever the new supervisor for you guys is will be able to have one through the year just to get everybody back up to speed on support teams. But all these things are located here, so please utilize them and let me know if something is not up to date, and I will certainly change it as soon as I can. Okay, so back to our agenda here. After we bird walked a little bit on the SharePoint site, we talked about the updated tracker. You all have been sent your expectations for getting signatures. So some of you have sent those back already. So please read through those. A couple of things that were added on there, particularly for middle school and high school. I think Mr. Lang wanted to add a couple of things in there right here at the bottom. So identifying all the 5th grade students who were retained. He's going to start putting them on plans to kind of get them caught up, hopefully before they get to high school, so we don't have a lot of students behind all the way through middle school. So a couple of things on here. Again, this is not saying that you agree with it or that even that you're going to do it, but just acknowledging that that you have received kind of the expectations of being a counselor in Murray County. So so that should be sent. If you don't have that, let me know. Just sign that and get that back to me as soon as you can. Competencies. So that's another one that was sent out as well, and that is something that comes from ASCA. It is part of implementation as well. That should have been sent to you as well. Let me know if you don't have it. I simply took what ASCA did, and last year we did it via the Google survey forms, and it just got to be too confusing with folks trying to remember where their login and emails and stuff was. So this is just the exact same form. I went ahead and put it in a Word document, so you could literally just click on the things that pertain to you that you feel like you are competent in, and leave the things blank that aren't. So just go ahead and go through that and save it. Save yourself a copy. Send me a copy. And this will help to also kind of cater future professional development as well if a lot of counselors feel like they would need more resources in a certain area. So that's what that's all about for school counselor competencies. So the due date on that is just throughout the year, but it is on the implementation checklist. So so that's something that we need to get done throughout the year. If you feel like you're going to forget about it as the year gets crazy, go ahead and just kind of work it out ahead of time and send that in. And again, monthly character trait and awareness focuses, those are on the SharePoint as well. That throughout the district we kind of have general focuses and character traits that we have across the district. So College Application Exploration Week, we mentioned that as one of our important dates on that list. Last year we had folks from THEC, Higher Education Commission, come in and speak to you guys, and they had to sign up for to get resources. So if you want to do that again this year to get some of their free resources, I think it's first come, first serve until August 16th. So you would just click on that link and go ahead and put in your school name and so forth, and they can send you some things. I think a lot of schools did that last year, got some neat things from them. So there's your resource for that. We already talked about OK to Be You. I got all those things in my office, so please let me know what you need. And however you can incorporate into social media or student work, OK to Be You. We had some really good submissions last year from students, so that was a lot of fun. Title IV funds, let me know what you might need. In past years we've gotten a lot of SEL kind of things, and I know some schools this year have already asked about some more of the in-focus or different types of things. It was also suggested that every school have some sort of kind of resource book or something for students or teachers on bullying. If you have something that you like or a book on bullying that you like, let me know. We'll see. We'll check in with Mr. Gaines and see what we can order. But let me know about those as soon as you can so I can get those requests sent to Scott Gaines. We talked about the crisis recovery packet and the suicide threat protocol, as well as Section 504. Just on your 504s, make sure, especially the students that are coming due in August, feel free to get those done as soon as you can. Just go ahead and invite me to the meetings, particularly if you want to get some out of the way before I leave. I'd love to assist with that. You can also, if you've got some like in September or October and you just want to get them all kind of on the same start of school schedule, you can do them early. Just make sure the parents are okay with that and do all those earlier. And then, okay, so the implementation checklist, let's jump to that now. So here is one, and everybody should have one of these as well. Yours would have your name and your school on there. If you don't have one, let me know. This one can be actually edited. I shared it via OneDrive, and you can just edit it online. And as you add things on there, I can see it on my end. And again, at the end of every 9 weeks, I have been sending this to principals to kind of update them on your progress and to remind them of things that are required of counselors, because a lot of times they don't remember, and they can use that and think about that when they do your evaluation. So I'm going to hand all this stuff over to the next supervisor, and hopefully they'll follow suit with that. But listed here is everything that is needed. This is similar to what we had on the Google Forms last year, but I did it again in this different format. Hopefully it'd be easier to do. And this is drop-down menu. So whenever you do your counseling philosophy, if we do that preferably in the first 9 weeks, you would just do that. Your needs assessment. So you just go through and just as you complete things, or typically I would send out a reminder at the end of the first 9 weeks, update your checklist. So you would just do that, and once it saves, it should be on my end as well. But again, just going through the list of things. So update your belief, vision, and mission. Those should be posted somewhere, preferably if you have a section of your school's website, whether it's something that is run by your school host, or if you have your own website and you give them a link. But that should be updated and reviewed. Needs assessment for faculty, students, and parents. Now again, you're not going to be able to get all your parents, maybe not even all the students, but as best you can get input from them, that's better. And a referral system. So how do they refer themselves or their students? And of course we have the faculty and the teacher referral forms on the website, on the district website. They may also be on the SharePoint as well. You can just link to whatever's on my section of the website, because I try to keep that up to date. So you can link to those whenever you need to. And then for students, just letting them know how they can refer themselves. And this should all really be done really towards the beginning of the school year for referrals. So go ahead and get those knocked out. This training education on the counseling program. So again, it's educating, and I don't know of many other professions that you have to keep educating people on what you do and why you're here, but so be it. So, for faculty, I think there is a PowerPoint on the SharePoint site as well if you want to utilize that, or just talk to them. This is what I do. You can even take this whole thing and kind of, share with them what's expected of you. Most of them don't really know all that's expected of you, and go over that with them. Now, with student and parents is probably going to look a little bit different. This, for students, a lot of you may go around to the classes or homerooms or advisories beginning of the year and just kind of introduce yourselves and say a little bit about the services you offer. That's great for there. For parents, it may be at your open houses or share your website or newsletters or whatever you might do, but somehow sharing that with parents about what you do and who you are. The program management agreement, and so that is also a document on the SharePoint site, and that's something that you would fill out, and then you would sit down with your administrator and go over all the things on there. When you fill that out, let me know if you have questions. There's the program goal. I would say, to make your life easier, the program goal that's included in your program management agreement could also be the same as your SMART goal. So you're not doing double duty. Now, you can have different ones, but certainly they could be the same one and count for that too. Now, if you prefer to do the measure instead of the SMART goal, you can do that. I think most people are opting for the SMART goal. The simple form is there on the SharePoint site as well. School counseling calendar shared with faculty, students, and parents. And again, it's not sharing every nitty-gritty detail like I have a 504 in Johnny and I'm going to meet with the principal on this day, but general calendar. We're going to talk about these subjects, or this is when we have the EPSO week or college app week, and just general calendar for them to reference things. Certainly Aaron's Law stuff could be on there. Again, faculty, that's usually not hard to share with them, but with students and parents sometimes. So if you want to share out kind of how you are doing that, that might be good. Okay, so the action plans here. Again, there's 3 different action plans. Only one of them is going to be required. That's the Closing the Gap action plan. You could do small group action plan or core curriculum action plan. Totally fine. And that's why it says if you're completing it, when did you complete it? Now, if you're not going to, this would preferably, it says submit in fall. Anything that says submit, you would submit to me or whoever the new person is. So you would probably do first 9 weeks in there, and then if you're not doing these, just do not completed. That's something that you're not even attempting. And so again, closing the gap is a specific measurable kind of goal, and you're trying to close the gap in a specific subgroup, whether it be gender, ethnicity, grade level, whatever it is. You can certainly contact me for some ideas or bouncing things off of me as well. Advisory council meeting, the first one and the second one. Generally, it's good to have one somewhere around September, October maybe, and again around March-ish. Getting input from parents, if you have older kids in your school, maybe even having some of them on there as well, and some faculty. And just kind of bragging on what you're doing, but also getting their feedback as well. Aaron's Law, so again, training for faculty, lessons for the students, first session, second session, and then some sort of parent communication. So that's all on there. Completing your counselor competencies assessment, okay, and that's what we just referenced. And so again, just as you complete it, put it on here. End of year evaluation. There is no set form for that, but however you can evaluate your program at the end of the year. It could be through survey, input, could be your advisory council, it could be you did a needs assessment at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, and you kind of compare to say, hey, bullying was a high thing in the fall, but now in the spring I think we addressed it and it's not really low, it's a low thing. So however you do that, but that's just, there needs to be some way that you evaluate your counseling program annually. And then for whatever action plans you did, you have to do the plan results. And again, these, if you didn't even attempt the small group or core ones, you would just do not completed. And then this should ideally be done the 4th 9 weeks, because you would have your year done for closing the gap. And again, the results would just be that last column of the action plan. So there's several columns. That last column, it's noted on there, this to be completed at end of the year. That is the results. So, so you would submit your action plan up here to me of closing the gap, and then at the end of the year you would submit it with that last column completed on how things turned out. And then that brings us to the bottom here, 1-page summary, submitted again to me or whoever the new person is. And that literally is just a narrative summary. Just, hey, we attempted this year and we were successful, or we're not because this unforeseen thing came up. Next year I plan to do this, and kind of run over your data and kind of brag over yourself and what all you did throughout the year. This part here is shared with stakeholders. Now you're not going to share everything maybe in there. This one is submitted to me. This one, if you can take snippets and share with your stakeholders, that would be ideal, just to kind of let them know what you accomplished throughout the year, maybe some changes that you're thinking about for the next year. And on the bottom here, I just added this documentation again because this will be a document that I can see. So with your time tracking at the end of every 9 weeks, that way this kind of keeps it up for you. Just go ahead and put in your percentages here. So if you were, 60 and 25 and then 15 or something like that. So you can kind of keep track of your percentages. Again, this we want to be under 20%. So that's kind of the implementation here. Let me know if you have any questions on that. This is designed to help you and your administrators kind of keep track of all things that's expected of you, and just literally a checklist as you go through the year. So that just kind of brings us to the end here. Here's a link for the RTIB SharePoint if you're on that committee and so forth, and then back down to important dates and all that. But if there are any questions at all, please, 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 please let me know. Again, I'm here through September 5th, that MAP session and that Thursday after Labor Day. More than happy to come out to your schools, help whatever things that you have. Please utilize me. I am extremely grateful for all of you and all the hard work you do. A lot of times the thankless work that you do. And so honored to have worked with you guys, and we've done some really great things here in Murray County for the past 3 years. I want all that to continue on, and Murray County continue to be kind of a beacon of mental health in the state. So you guys have done an awesome job. Please let me know how I can help. Again, my extension is 8169, and my mobile number there is on the SharePoint site if you need that as well. So thank you very much. Hope you have a fantastic school year as we kick it off, or whenever you're watching this, it may have already been kicked off. Thank you so much,